Okay, so now that we covered the basics about the different types of alleles that you can inherit from mom or dad, now we have to get into the genotypes. So remember, this gene on chromosome 9 determines what allele you get. So do you from mom or dad, A, B, or O? And don't forget the basics from the beginning again. So DNA makes your mRNA, which then makes your protein. And the protein that this gene codes for determines what protein is on the outside of these red blood cells. So for genotype, we're going to use the letter I for blood type. It stands for isoagglutinoantigen. Basically, an antigen is just something that can cause, it's on the outside of a cell and it can cause like an immunoresponse. So they're just kind of like the markers here. Okay, it stands for like the blood type determines what markers are on the outside. So for type A, you can be either homozygous dominant, meaning that you received an A from mom. Now for blood, remember for multiple alleles, we write it as superscripts. So kind of like exponents in math class. So you can receive an A. We'll do dad first since dad's this one. So you could receive an A from dad and an A from mom, and you can be homozygous dominant for type A blood. Now, say that you get an A from dad, but mom gives you the O gene, the type O gene, then that's recessive, so that would be a little I. Okay, so you would receive a little I from mom. Or it could happen vice versa, but those are the two ways that you can have type A blood. Okay, so same deal with type B. You could receive a B, the gene that codes for the circle markers to be made on the outside of the red blood cells from dad, and one from mom as well. In that case, you'd be considered homozygous dominant for type B blood. Or you could receive the B allele from one parent and the recessive from another, but since B is dominant, it overrides the recessive, so you would still have type B blood. If you are recessive, the only way, remember that you show the recessive trait is when you are homozygous recessive for alleles. So you would have to receive two little i's or the gene for type O blood from both parents, which just indicates that there's no cell surface markers on the outside of your red blood cells. Now, codominant, the only way that you would be codominant is if you receive the blood type A gene from one parent and the blood type B gene from another. Okay, and then you just write them alphabetically. So that is how you would represent the different genotypes for blood type. And remember, those genotypes affect what phenotype, the phenotype that you would display. So what type of blood you would actually see in the individual.